Hello, everyone. All right, I'll let people cycle in for a little bit. Um, welcome everyone to the Communications Vice President Leadership Lab. I am joined by the Communications Standing Committee today, and we just want to first congratulate you all on taking on this role for your chapters today during Leadership Lab. We're just going to go over your role and what that means for your chapter, give you guys tips, tricks, resources that you guys can take back to your chapters, and then answer any questions that you guys may have at the end. And at the end of the session, we'll kind of break out into breakout rooms and kind of do a little activity. So let's go ahead and get started. So here is the Communication Standing Committee. So my name is Sarah. I am a fourth year student pharmacist from Purdue University College of Pharmacy, and I serve as the chair of the Communication Standing Committee. I will have each of the members introduce themselves as they present today, but basically what we do as a committee, to put it briefly, first is overseeing the social media presence of APhA-ASP. And the second part of that is to support you all. So through webinars, resources, and really any questions that you guys may have, we are the people to go to. So if you guys have any questions today or after this webinar, feel free to reach out to us. We are more than willing to help you guys out. And here's some other people I'd like to introduce, and they're actually in the webinar today, so I'll have them introduce themselves.
Hi everyone, I'm Shahinda. I'm currently a final year student over at Rutgers University in New Jersey. So excited to be here with you all. I currently serve as one of the APhA-ASP national members at large, and in that position, I also serve as one of the student liaisons to the Communication Standing Committee. So they're the geniuses of everything, but whenever there's something that might need to escalate further, I'm just here as a resource as well for you all. But they're really the dream team here.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for spending a little time with your fellow CVPs tonight. My name is Crystal Atwell, and I serve as your Senior Director for Student and New Practitioner Development. So I am here to support you, as well as the Communication Standing Committee, to bring all the brilliance of Labubu posts and is this true or not when it comes to movies and TV shows to life. So thank you all for helping be the voice of APhA-ASP.
All right, so here is kind of our agenda for tonight. So you all should have received an email from me with a video for a pre-leadership lab prep video. If you haven't watched it, that's totally fine, but I do encourage you guys to watch that after this leadership lab today as we go over kind of the top 5 things to know about your role. But today we'll just be going in more in depth into what we talked about in the video. So take out a notebook and pen, open up a notes app. We'll be going over a lot today, so we'll just go ahead and get started. So going into the general roles and responsibilities for the ComVP, to put it simply, it can be split into two buckets. So that first part is the communicator. You are making sure that every member of APhA-ASP is informed about all things APhA-ASP. As you may know, there's a lot of events that happen at your chapters, a lot of operations. Um, I know as a first year student pharmacist, I was very overwhelmed with all the opportunities of APhA-ASP, but that's why it's important to communicate all of that to your members. And then on top of that, making sure that your leadership team is in the loop of all the things that are happening, but we will go more in depth on how to do that. And then the second bucket that we like to put your role in is something we like to emphasize because I feel like there's a common misconception that the ComVP role is just the communicator. But really, you guys also serve as the advocate for the profession of pharmacy. So what does that mean? As ComVP, you guys are in a role where you can use your creativity to create content on really anything that you want regarding the profession of pharmacy. So you guys host chapter events with the operations, and that when you host those events, you can create content that educates the general student population about some of the disease states that they cover. You can talk about the policies that you guys are advocating for on the state level. There's a myriad of things that you guys can create posts for and use your platform to get the message out. And then on top of that, we want to see what your chapters are achieving. We manage the APhA-ASP account, so we see all the great things that you guys are accomplishing at the chapter level. So keep sharing that on your Instagram and tag us because we would love to repost that on our social media page as well. And I will hand it off to Amanda to talk about branding and language.
Hi everyone, my name is Amanda. I'm a final year student pharmacist at the St. Louis College of Pharmacy. Today we're going to talk about something that seems small but really matters, which is the branding and language. So first, let's talk about logos and colors. On this slide, you'll see the official logos for the National APhA-ASP organization and for our patient care projects. These are the only logos you should use in your chapter materials, whether it be a flyer, website, or social media post. We've also included the official hex color codes here. Using these exact colors keep our brand consistent, and they consistently help people recognize us no matter where they see our materials. And then you'll see there's a QR code on the screen. This links to a Dropbox folder where all the logos and branding resources live. So if you want to screenshot this page and take a picture, feel free to. And one quick but super important note, make sure your communication VPs checks that your chapter is using the most up-to-date logo. We've updated the logo a couple years ago, but we still catch some chapters using the old version. That can create confusion and doesn't reflect well on us. Next, please. Now, some really important guidelines about the logos, which are the red flags. You absolutely cannot modify the logo in any way, and here's what that means. Do not put anything on it, which means no hats or stickers or icons on the logo. Don't put an X or line through it. Don't add your chapter or school name on or around it. And most importantly, do not change the colors. Please use the only approved hex codes, and then don't stretch, distort, or crop the logo in any weird ways. Even if it seems like a fun or creative idea, changing the logo isn't allowed. Our logo represents the national identity, and keeping it consistent and professional is critical. If you're ever in doubt about something, ask first. It's always better to check than accidentally make a mistake. This year's presidential theme is Every Moment Matters, Celebrate, Cherish, and Create. We encourage you to use this theme creatively in your chapter through campaigns, events, or social media posts. It's a great way to tie your chapter's work into the national message. The logo will be updated or uploaded to the Dropbox folder as soon as possible, but if you need it right away, feel free to screenshot this slide and use that version temporarily. Just a reminder, even with the name, and the theme, you cannot modify the logo. The logo must stay exactly as provided. Now let's shift gears and talk about language, which is just as important as logos and colors. First and foremost, we call ourselves student pharmacists, not pharmacy students. This is an intentional distinction that reflects our role in the profession, so make sure you use student pharmacists whenever you're writing or speaking about yourselves. Second, always refer to the organization as APhA-ASP. That's the American Pharmacists Association Academy of Student Pharmacists. Notice the lowercase h in APhA. Please do not shorten it to ASP alone. It should always be APhA-ASP to avoid any confusion. Here are some official key titles and terms you should know and use correctly. So the National Executive Committee, NEC, with National President, National President-elect, National Member at Large, Speaker of the House, and standing committees. Always say it as National Blank Standing Committee. So we are the Communication Committee. So it'll be National Communications Standing Committee. There's also regional officers, regional delegates, and mid-year regional meeting coordinators. And if you mention IPSF, that stands for the International Pharmaceutical Students Federation. Using these terms correctly will help clarify and show respect for the structure of our organization.
All right, hello everyone. Now I'm going to talk about chapter communications. So first of all, a couple questions here that I wanted to ask you. First of all, how does your leadership team communicate with each other? And how does your chapter communicate with members themselves? Feel free to share. Okay, I'm seeing a comment here for email and group me. All right, seeing a few emails and group me's here, a WhatsApp. I guess an important distinction to make as well is talking with your leadership team themselves versus your chapter as a whole. Alrighty. And then just some ideas on ways to effectively communicate with your chapter and your leaders. Your chapter can utilize weekly Instagram stories that your whole community can see. Keep your leaders updated and keeping them on a weekly set basis. You can decide to use like set days of the week, such as every Monday will be the updates for what's coming on with your chapter. You can also use monthly updates on your social media pages. I definitely encourage using a shared editable calendar online. This is something that leaders can go and access at any time in order to update for real-time events. This will help to encourage any updates that are going on throughout your school and your chapter. And that way you can also have a separate messaging system for your team in case there are any last-minute updates as well, just to keep your chapter informed. Using a GroupMe is something that our chapter has found especially helpful as well for any updates without being overwhelmed with emails. I know at least for our school, emails can get a little overwhelming from time to time. So it's important to talk with your team and set deadlines and expectations with your team as well. I was a communications VP for my chapter last year, and it was important to make sure to communicate ahead of time what your expectations were for posts. So whether you needed a week or two in advance to have your posts you would make for a chapter set, such as what you'd want to do for Instagram or Facebook online, that was important to communicate as well. I know that Sarah and Charles were also communications VPs for their chapter if they want to share some examples as well.
Yeah, so for our chapter, I initiated a media request form so that set the expectation for our chapter to submit a request if they needed a graphic or if they needed any photographers present at an event. So I gave kind of the expectation of 2 weeks in advance. So that way they kind of had that standard for the entire year.
Yeah, and when I was communications vice president, I made sure to make a document of how to communicate with me and also kind of when to give me like kind of timeline of when to give me information so I know if it was an announcement, if it was a short little thing, they could text me, but if it was something more like intricate and if it was like they needed to send me information for a post, I told them to strictly email me. That way I can kind of keep that balance and make sure to get things that when prioritize the things that need to go out as soon as possible. Um, I think it's really important. Like the thing that I want to emphasize here is please set these deadlines and expectations with your leadership team because at the end of the day, you guys are student pharmacists and you all need to pass your classes before anything else. And you guys took on this role voluntarily and you'll have a lot going on. So in order to keep that balance between school and your leadership position, I think it's important for you guys to set these deadlines and expectations so that you guys are balancing everything during school. So yeah, that is something the Communication Standing Committee definitely wants to emphasize for you all.
All right, and just to formally introduce myself, my name is Charles. I am a final year student pharmacist from the University of Florida. And I'm going to be talking to you guys today about social media. So first, starting off with a fun question. So what social media trend have you used for your platform to engage members? Okay, so I'm seeing some comments coming in. So trending music, yeah, definitely utilizing some trending music in either Reels, TikToks, or Instagram posts can definitely be engaging. Yes, TikToks and vlog type stories I love watching day in the lives, especially of pharmacy students. So that's definitely a really engaging way to showcase what student pharmacists do on a day-to-day. Weekly trivia polls on Insta. That was something our chapter also did to engage in a different platform as opposed to a normal Instagram post. So yeah, these are awesome, great ideas. So with how to engage on social media, so definitely including pictures of your members. They are the face of the organization. So definitely highlighting their involvement throughout the year. And then definitely balance between professional and fun. If you look on our Instagram page, we have a mix of informational graphics, but also we'll post a meme here and there. So it's really important just to kind of balance the two so that you continue to engage your members. And then also do a quick write-up in the captions just so that you kind of summarize the importance of each event, and then also use it as a way to either advocate or communicate any messages that you wanted to get out. And then quality over quantity, it's definitely important to make sure that the quality of your content is at the forefront. And then, of course, if you haven't already, make sure you follow and then tag at APhA-ASP so that we can see your posts. So like Sarah said at the beginning, we love seeing what you guys do throughout the year, and we love reposting it on our story as well. And then now I just wanted to go over some resources that you guys can use. So Canva, CapCut, and Meta Business are free services and easily accessible. And this is a great starting point for making graphics, videos. Meta Business is really great. That's what we use on a national level to kind of schedule posts or kind of plan out our calendar for social media. So it's a really great resource that you can use on a chapter level as well. And then pictures, making sure to have someone take pictures at events. You, as the communications vice president, cannot go to every single event. So make sure you're delegating to highlight all events equally. So at our chapter, we had historian chairs and then a media team committee where I was able to delegate individuals from that committee to go to certain events. Or if that's not an option, definitely relying on your leadership teams to kind of also help you out capturing photos and videos throughout the year. And then I know some schools have a film department or a school library that lends a professional camera. So if you want to utilize a professional camera throughout the year, that is also a resource for you. And then also really important, just making sure that when you're taking photos or videos that you're not violating any HIPAA, essentially showing face of patients without their consent or providing any like personal information of patients. So just making sure that you are covering all your bases with that.
Hey everyone, my name is Brianna. I'm a final year student pharmacist at Union University College of Pharmacy in Tennessee. And I'm going to be talking about advocacy and our campaigns or ideas for y'all to use. So, you guys as communications VPs have a really, really unique opportunity to spotlight each of your chapter's impact, and that's irregardless of whatever tools or platforms that you might be using. So, some of you might be a part of really big chapters that have a really strong social media presence, and you're using TikTok and Instagram and Meta Business and all the things. And some of you maybe are in smaller chapters that are just launching your Instagram, or you really only post internally for your own members. And that's both of those are totally fine, and your voice definitely still matters. So, you guys don't have to do everything. You don't have to have a huge following to make a difference. So, whether you're contributing through designing graphics, writing captions, maybe some of you are editing videos, or you're posting newsletters, or just emailing. All of that is great. And you can still use those things to promote important pharmacy topics and things that your chapter is doing. So next, I just want to walk through some of the national campaigns that APhA supports throughout the year. And these are really important for you guys because they're a great opportunity for you specifically to get involved. So this month, I'm going to go a little out of order, but August, so right now is we're focusing on Operation Immunization. So maybe you're focusing on vaccine education, back to school health, also pharmacist roles in vaccination access. So a really big way for you guys to make an impact this month. September and January, reproductive health. So there's a lot of things that you guys can do for that. Contraceptive access, pharmacist involvement in care, etc. October is substance use disorders. So stigma reduction, naloxone training is a big one. Harm reduction strategies, and then pharmacist advocacy in recovery support or different, like a lot of states have different operations that they use to help support those in recovery. November is Operation Diabetes. So obviously sharing information on diabetes screening, lifestyle interventions. Pharmacists play a really, really important role in diabetes. Um, February is Operation Heart, so obviously heart health awareness, blood pressure screenings, all the things. And then also remember, aside from strictly social media, you guys are also unique in your position because people might rely on you for graphics. So this isn't just maybe things to be posted, but maybe for Operation Diabetes, someone asks you to make a graphic to hand out at pharmacies, or maybe you're making a flyer to pin up in your communities. So, in these things, I'd encourage you to think outside of the box and don't just think Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and think how you can use your position to be widespread if social media maybe isn't your strongest asset in your area specifically. And then the last slide I'm going to talk about really quick is just other ideas for social media that maybe y'all can use. So, American Pharmacists Month is a really important one in October. You guys, I assume all have pharmacists as faculty. You know a pharmacist in your community. You are soon to be a pharmacist. So, definitely something that you all should consider implementing on your social media or advocating for. Policy focused campaigns are something really important. Legislative issues, Day on the Hill events, advocacy events that you all might be hosting are great things to spotlight for your chapter. International campaigns, so there's World Pharmacist Day. There's also like global pharmacy initiatives. IPSF is a great thing to highlight. Maybe your school has international students that you can highlight. There are so many opportunities. The presidential theme is on the slide. Um, Rachel did a really great job coming up with this because there are so many ways that you can use create, cherish, and celebrate. So we would encourage y'all to think of creative ways that you can implement the theme. There are so many different ways. Even our committee alone has, like, we brainstorm this constantly. And then member spotlights are also super important. Recurring posts that highlight your members' contributions, their roles, their achievements, those are super important. And if you tag us, we do get notifications and we see them. So those are great ways for you to get spotlighted nationally also. And I'll pass it off to whoever's next.
All right, it's back to me. So, the Student Pharmacist magazine. So, if you don't know what it is, it's basically a 400 to 500 word article on really anything that you guys want it to be on. And it's written by members and it's read by members. So, here are the general topics that the Student Pharmacist magazine fall under. I know a lot of student pharmacists like to take advantage of the well-being articles because it's really you get to talk about something that you like to do outside of pharmacy. And the whole point of this is to promote mental health awareness during pharmacy school. So I know a lot of student pharmacists write about that. And then also, if you had a meaningful chapter event that you guys want to write about, this is a great opportunity to do so. So logistically, how this works is you will contact or whoever wants to write an article reaches out to Tom English, and he is our editor in chief. And if you don't know what you want to write about, you will tell him that and he'll work with you to figure that out. Also, he will work with you to edit the article in the process. So, articles are posted on Tuesdays and Fridays on the APHA website, but it's also posted on our social media. So, if you haven't heard it enough times, follow APhA-ASP to see those articles. We do tag the chapters and we do tag the authors so that you guys are recognized as well. But yeah, and I have not written an article myself, and I know the biggest thing that people are worried about is time to write this article, but from the numerous of people who have written articles, they have told me it took like 2 days to write. So I highly encourage you all to bring this back to your chapters. Um, let members know that this is an opportunity that they can take advantage of and go ahead and tell them to write an article so we can go ahead and post that. And I will pass it off to Taylor.
Hello, everyone. My name is Taylor, and I'm a final year student pharmacist at South College School of Pharmacy in Knoxville, Tennessee. And I'm going to talk to y'all a little bit about FarmFlix today. So I'm very excited to announce that our theme this year for the FarmFlix videos is Proud to be Pharmacy. And I think this is a great theme that can encompass so many things, and I'm very excited to see what all the chapters will do with this. So I kind of want to go over a checklist for planning your FarmFlix. So be sure to read over those guidelines, ensure that everyone that's going to be a part of this FarmFlix has signed a consent form. Your video should be a maximum of 90 seconds. And be sure before you submit your video that it has high video and sound quality. So you also will want to create a FarmFlix committee to help with ideas and filming because this is a large task and you don't want to take it all upon yourself and become overwhelmed. You'll want to be sure to attend the FarmFlix informational webinar in the fall. That date is to be announced. And then you're going to submit your video application and upload the video by December 1st. Be sure to utilize the FarmFlix and APhA-ASP logos. The FarmFlix logo is yet to be released. So, as I mentioned, the theme, Proud to be Pharmacy, will be scored in 3 categories. So, you can submit a video for Best Overall, Most Humorous, or Most Inspirational. In February, the top videos in each category will be announced. And then in March, the winners in each category will be announced during APhA 2026. So, we put together a general timeline to help you all get an idea on when you should start putting together things for your FarmFlix. So in August, send your consent forms out to your leadership team, set general expectations from your end and how they can assist you, plan your general storyboard for the video, and compile video footage. Promote FarmFlix to your chapter to gauge interest on who wants to participate. In September, continue planning the story and acquire any necessary film equipment that you all will be using. In October, it's recommended to begin filming and editing your video. November, some final touches, send it off maybe to your advisor to get feedback on your edits. And then December the 1st at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, your FarmFlix video will be due. And as I previously mentioned, in February, the top videos in each category will be announced, and then in March, the winners of each category will be announced during APhA 2026.
All right, so just to go over some housekeeping things, make sure to join our GroupMe. This is just going to be the main way that we can communicate with you all. So if you guys have any questions for us, we will also be sending out for each campaign month a little sheet of ideas that you guys can use for your media pages. So be on the lookout for that. But we will also be sending out any announcements that we have on our end. So make sure to join the GroupMe. And make sure, as we have mentioned throughout the whole night, to follow APhA-ASP. Here we have some announcements, we have some fun posts. We also repost some of your guys' content, so make sure to follow and tag us. And we have reached the end of this portion of Leadership Lab. What questions do you guys have? Feel free to unmute and ask.
Hi, my name is Alexis. I go to Western New England. Not so much a question, just really a comment. I appreciate all the information that you guys provided. This is my first time like holding this kind of role. I'll be P2 as of next month. And I appreciate all this information because when I jumped into it, I was like, oh my God, I don't even know what I'm supposed to do. What am I gonna do? So I appreciate all this information and everything that you guys provided. So thank you.
Well, that just warms my heart. Thank you so much, Alexis. We'll also have a chance in our breakout rooms where, we can share our ideas, kind of go over whatever you guys are either worried about or kind of we'll be your sounding board. So we'll have breakout sessions where you guys get to, share everything you guys want. But I appreciate that, Alexis. That was very kind.
No problem. Thank you again.
What other questions do we have? You guys will also have opportunities to ask questions in breakout rooms, but okay, seeing that there are none at the moment, feel free to reach out to us via email, DM on Instagram, or group me. Our email is on the APHA website. But now we will go into the last portion of the night, which is our breakout room session. So how this is going to work is two members of the Communication Standing Committee are going to be in your breakout rooms, and we will go over some situations that you as a communications vice president will encounter. So the first situation is it's American Pharmacist or American Heart Month, and you are planning with your Operation Heart Chair on social media content that you want to make. What do you want to highlight for the month, and what post do you want to make? And then the second situation is planning for FarmFlix. So you are about to start planning for FarmFlix, and this year's theme is Every Moment Matters. Plan with your team on the idea and what resources you may need. As you notice here, the FarmFlix theme is not what we just announced to you all. I made sure to intentionally do that because FarmFlix is a competition and I want you guys to have this mock situation where you're planning but not sharing what you want to do at your chapters for the FarmFlix. So I intentionally did that, but don't be confused. This year's theme is Proud to be Pharmacy, but for this situation, it's every moment matters. I will go ahead and stop sharing and we will go ahead and split off into our breakout rooms.